So talk about the different projects like the T-shirt drops that you've been doing. Not I want to say at random, but the T-shirt drops that you've been doing.
No, you can call it at random. That's
Yeah.
At this point, like
at this point, it's random.
Be like that. Yeah. But nah, man. It's really just that's what analog luxury really exists as. It's not even like a full brand, or the way that I call it is like a series of branded art projects. Okay. Which is why I'm okay with it being like you saying like random drops, because that's what they are. It's literally like I have an idea, and now that I have the full capacity to execute it, from like thinking about it to getting the T-shirts made, like, or getting the posters made, or what. Like that's another thing too. It's like it's not just T-shirts and hats. You know what I mean? It's like I got like pillows and mugs and posters.
Now,
fine art prints.
Now, riddle me this.
All that kind of stuff.
When it comes to the mugs and the pillows, do you feel like, not saying not a lost art, but like those people kind of take that stuff for granted? Like when you think like me, I'm like, man, I never drop a pillow. Who wants to buy a pillow from me? Who wants to buy a mug from me? What in your head? What makes you go ahead and create that mug or that pillow?
Well, for me, I was wanting to get into home decor because a lot of the homies wasn't buying streetwear like that no more. A lot of we get cats almost 30, so we got big boy jobs. Not everybody's like me. I'm gonna wear T-shirts and hoodies until they probably might bury me in one. Keep it a book, but like everybody's not like that. Yeah. So, but they still participate. They still like sneakers. They still like design. They still like streetwear. They still like all these different things. So, what's the next iteration of that? And the next iteration of that is like getting into someone's home decor. Okay. And like I said, it also lends to like the fine art aspect that I'm trying to get into as well. So it was kind of like transferring my train of thought and transferring my design sensibilities into things that I thought where the demographic that I was trying to reach was headed. Mm-hmm. So, homies is buying, people got rental properties, people buying houses, they having kids, all these different types of things. They got home offices, you know what I mean? So it's like they got studios at the crib, they got all these different things, and you need dope things that inspire you while you're in those spaces. So, that was the thought originally. It was like, okay, let me drop some pillows and drop a mug and drop some stuff and drop some photos for you to put on your wall because, you may not wear that T-shirt, but when you go home, you still that same person with those same interests, and you want to be in an environment that fuels those things.
That makes sense.
So that was what it was really.
So with the podcast, where did the podcast, like the whole idea, what's the whole goal with the podcast?
Yeah, man, hearing doing things was something that like, is, you know what I mean? Something that was, it was created, it still exists, but it was created with the mindset of just really trying to have more dialogue like this amongst, creative folks who found ways to actually start businesses. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, you got a lot of people who are creative or they're artists or whatever, but they don't think about the business end of things. Mm-hmm. They don't think about how they can scale their work. They don't think about how they can get their work in front of more people. They don't think about marketing or branding or any of those things. They just want to create stuff. Mm-hmm. So for me, being a person that exists in both worlds, I think, and I always tell people too, like business is something that's innate to me. That's my gift. Yeah. I earn my creativity. Okay. I studied, I researched, I spent time, I worked, I learned, and I'm constantly still growing and trying to be a better creative. But business is something that's just in me. It's just something that just works. It just clicks. It's something I understand.
You don't think the creative?
I mean, everybody's creative, right? Like at a base, everybody's creative. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I do firmly believe that as well. Yeah. But it's not something that was like a strong suit. Like I got homies who are like better designers than I will ever be. They just have a knack. You know what I'm saying? Like just like I have a knack for business, somebody has a knack for design or a knack for art. But they just make different. Their brains just wired differently. They were into different things growing up. That just allows for them to connect different dots that just innately I wouldn't think about, right? Yeah. So, I forgot where we was going with that.
Talking about the podcast, I believe.
Oh yeah, so the podcast was created to bridge that gap between folks who were like
you were saying
super duper creative, and the people who kind of like business minded or like creatives who found a way into business or business people found a way into creatives, like just having that dialogue about like these are people that are doing really dope work and have kind of found a way to scale what they're doing and can probably lend some advice to some folks who are in that same space. So it's specifically for people who are full-time artists or full-time like creative business owners and just having that dialogue with them. So I mean, I listen to podcasts like How I Built This by Guy Raz, where he's talking to different business owners, or this like Business High with Jeff Staple.
You put me on that.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the version of that that's just a little bit more art focused, but also just has that same type of dialogue, getting people to give the nuts and bolts of how they came up. Because it's an opportunity for me to learn as well. Yeah. And then, you put on for the homies too. Like I got a lot of homies that are doing dope work, so it's another opportunity to have a conversation with them too. So we have those conversations all the time anyway, but it's just not being recorded.
my phone all the time. I feel like.
Yeah, and it's a good way to connect with people too. It's like lending your platform. It's like, yo, if I want to meet with somebody, or you know what I mean, want to pick their brain, it's like, yo, like let me at least offer you this platform that I created, as opposed to just being like, I want to pick your brain and go buy you coffee. You know
so there's no like monetary end goal or getting it sponsored, or you just
maybe
with it.
It's been a lot. I mean, well, and that's another thing too. Is like it's a reason why it's live. Like it's a reason why you got to show up to go see it, ticketed and all of that. Like it's to create another like opportunity for retail. For me personally, for analog luxury, like sitting on inventory and stuff like that. It's like, yo, come out, hear the podcast, potentially shop something, buy something, learn about the brand. Just create an environment that was specifically for analog luxury, but that leads with value to the consumer, as opposed to me just being like, hey, come here and buy stuff from me. It's like, here's some information, and if you want to buy something, type, you know what I mean? It's here for you to buy.
So with that, like, I feel like, and I'm telling this, I did a video before you came here talking about putting the brand out for the service. And I know you had your brand out for a long time. People already know you, it's reputable. But with that, you did a live, you're doing live events, and your follower count may not be, but so high, you know, smaller scale, you know. Was there any like shrieking back at that? Like, man, do I want to do a live event?
Nah, because
like, where's the confidence coming to do a live event?
Because at the end,
only maybe 10, 15 people. It's only
that's the thing. The goal was for it to be intimate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have the grand expectations.
Okay.
I really want people who genuinely want to be there. I'm not trying to be like super duper huge. You know what I'm saying? It's not the goal. For analog luxury isn't something that's built to scale necessarily in that way. You know what I mean? Like the scale comes from just making sure that the business is done the right way. And that was another thing too, is like if I can create an environment where, you know, the business plays out a little bit better, then that's what I'm gonna roll with, as opposed to like, you know, trying to do a pop-up shop with this thing, or, you know, paying somebody to vend at some show and being in front of 500 people that have no idea who I am and trying to sell to them and trying to, like, you know, they may come look at something, may pick something up, and then you gotta try and sell them and convert to them. It's just weird. So I just create an environment where I bring the value first. I'm bringing value first with an intimate group of people that trust in the brand or are adjacent via either the person I'm interviewing, or they know the brand, or they know me, or they know, you know what I'm saying? They kind of fell into whatever is going on. Somebody told them it was something they should show up to. So there's some type of connection there already. Okay. So it has a greater likelihood for people to want to connect with it and dig in. So it's just taking the long route, as opposed to trying to just like, I want to get in front of as many people as possible, as fast as possible. It's like, nah, like let me take my time and get it in front of people who are, you know, have some type of warmth to what's happening, and then also like create an environment where it's more than likely going to be successful or conducive for its success.
So like long game over short game, basically.
Yeah, somewhat.
So with that, like developing that patience, like how was it developing that patience? Because I know for me, it took me just this year, because I'm like, this is the first content I recorded in 6 months, and it drove me crazy for like the first 3, until I realized, I need to start becoming more valuable. I need to present more value. I need to study. I need to sit down. So where does that patience come to just, you know, okay, long game over short game?
Well, I mean, it's like, what are you really trying to get to? It all comes down to your goals and knowing yourself. Like, I'm not pressed for nothing. I'm going to create regardless. I'm going to put stuff out regardless. Yeah. I'm not really pressed for anybody to necessarily consume it, because it's just something that I just have to do in order for me to be like,
but then why put it for sale then?
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
why not put it for sale? I'm not going to create it and not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not interact with it? You know what I'm saying? Why not create a lane for people to interact with it and engage with it? It's just another thing that's just like icing on top of the cake. Yeah. So I mean, it's and then again, people are asking. A lot of times, people like will ask, like, "Oh, what's going on with the teas? When you gonna drop something? This and the third?" The people don't always cop. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? People are asking for it, so it's just like, you know what I mean? That's why I make it for sale, because people, if I make something, and you know how it goes, like this hoodie right here that people haven't seen the back of yet and probably won't for a while. Like people are asking me about this hoodie. You know what I'm saying? And there probably are people who are gonna buy them when they do drop, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. So I just put it on, wear it, and let people interact with it, see how many questions I get about it,
and then drop it.
And then we just go from there, and then people will buy it or not buy it, and you know what I mean? It's
I was more so talking about from the onset, get people to buy, because one of the things that I realized with me, I'm like, I'm not gonna drop another book until I get a little bit. Unless I feel like I have a little bit more reach, because I dropped a book 2 years ago, sold 20 copies, but I spent $800 trying to put it all together, branding, marketing.
Yeah, I mean, you learn those lessons, but you only gonna learn those lessons if you sell them 20 copies. Yeah. And that's the only way to get it done. Is just you can't be worried about like bread. Like money comes and goes. Yeah. But that experience that you got from doing that first one is going to lead into your next one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And until you have that first one, you can't get to the next one. So
Yeah.
it's just like, for me, the patience is just knowing that like I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. So what am I rushing for?
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm planning on like being a creative cat for like forever. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like I'm about to be doing
time.
Yeah, like, and then at that point, if I still got some stuff that somebody ain't bought from 2019, it's vintage. So
yeah.
we might have to super tax for it. Who knows?
That's a good mindset though. Like you're gonna be creating forever, so why? Yeah. I've more so been thinking more so lately, like 40 years, next 40 years versus the next 10. So when you said it, I was like, yeah, it's like I'm gonna be creating forever. So that's a good mindset. So what's like the biggest lesson that you learned in these last 5 or 6 years in getting you started and doing everything? What's the biggest lesson creatively, business wise that you learned that you could pass on to somebody else?
Just consistency, man. Like a lot of times, even with like where culture is, a lot of times it's just it's people passing through. Like you know, you got sneaker resellers, people reselling clothes and all this kind of stuff, and like just where culture is. But it's like only a certain number of people are actually gonna latch onto it and be consistent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And only a certain number of people that you're gonna see doing something year over year over year over year. You know what I mean? I'm 5, 6 years down this specific portion of this journey.
Yeah.
In terms of trying to scale certain things and create certain businesses, and it's just now starting to pay off.
Yeah.
So what does it look like when you multiply that by another 5 and multiply that by another 5 and multiply it by another 5? Mm-hmm. So it's just consistency, bro, and just patience and consistency. Like I'm only 28.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So I'm not really rushing to get nowhere. I'm not really rushing to do nothing. I'm just, and that's because I'm doing what I'm passionate about. I'm sitting in it now. So it's just like I want to be present. I want to enjoy what's happening because this only happens once.
Can you describe for me Charlotte in your own words? For a long time, I wanted to move out the city. Mm-hmm. Once I graduated high school, I wanted to move out. I didn't want to Wingate. But then you came back, and then it's like, okay, I'm thinking about moving to New York 2018. Or 2016, 2018, that didn't happen. And then, still here. And I feel like I'm supposed to be here now. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people, and I've been seeing kind of the creative scene rise, but just describe for me Charlotte in your own words.
Charlotte.